Nope, that's good. That's good that you didn't hear
Fantastic
that.
conversation.
No, they're not.
We
It's
have
fine. It's
yeah.
fine.
We have been having a lively debate pre-show.
We have.
hmm We've been pre-gaming it with a lively debate.
Mm-hmm. Sound we don't know her. Oh, hello. Welcome to Waking Up. This is Sean's show. Oh,
What? What?
oh yeah. Sean came up with this.
I
Well,
did come. I did come up with the topic.
he came up with the
I.
topic. He came up
I.
with the topic.
Yes. I came up with the topic and then said, "Give me an outline," which is what we normally do.
And did you read over the outline and change anything that didn't go?
I read through the outline, but I didn't feel that anything needed to be changed.
Hmm.
hmm
Interesting.
Yeah, I like the outline. hmm
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, we're waking up. I'm Anna. This is Sean. Sean's living in a world of naive and delusion, but that's fine. That's where he normally lives. So, that's where he lives emotionally and mentally. So, we're just going to
Hey,
leave that right
I've
there.
I've got great real estate there.
You do.
hmm
He's very much one of those kids that hides under the blanket. Says you can't
If
see me. I'm
if you
not.
if I can't see you, then you can't possibly see me.
Of course.
Yeah.
So
hmm
anyway, this is our. So here is our disclaimer here on Waking Up. We're not here to bash anyone's faith or religion. We think faith and religion are beautiful things when done in a mentally and emotionally healthy manner. Sean and I are not healthcare professionals, and nothing said on this show is to replace any type of real mental health professionals. Everything said on here is entertainment / educational purposes only. We're traumatized. We're bullshit. And it's fine. But if you do need real help, please contact us on our Discord. And we do have some information that will help you get in touch with a truly certified and licensed healthcare professional that can help you in a positive way. Sean and I are ex members of the Baptist.
Ex-evangelicals.
Ex-evangelicals.
Yeah.
We grew up in the Carolinas, which was Billy Graham territory in the 90s and aughts. And yes, so for those of we were Southern Baptists, and for those of you who don't know, the Southern Baptist is a conservative evangelical denomination of the Protestant Christian faith, and it pretty much fucked us up for life, and that's fine.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
So we're already running behind. So go, Sean.
All right. So, gonna let you guys in on a little secret. I am a fantastic storyteller. I can create some very fantastic, very believable
Like
stories.
your story that you told yourself before the show. So that's cool. Cool. All right. So you automatically
Thank you
admitted.
for proving my point. I am a fantastic
Oh yeah,
storyteller.
you tell whatever stories you want to tell yourself, Sean. Whatever
And
makes
I
you
do.
sleep at night.
I
Whatever makes
do
you sleep
tell
at night.
amazing, fantastic stories. The problem is those stories are not based are typically not based in reality, and those stories are not mentally healthy. Are you trying to say case in point?
You are just arguing my point altogether. So it's fine.
Yeah. So if someone's ever gone quiet for a few hours and you're like, yeah, I know why. I know why these people aren't. I know why somebody's not talking to me. If you've ever told yourself the story based upon something that has happened, you're probably right there with me. So today we were talking about my brain finished the sentence. It's the trauma we've been through trauma, been through conditioning. We've created a nervous system that likes and a brain that likes to predict what's going to happen and creates an entire story around what has happened. And the brain is an amazing thing. It doesn't need nary a piece of evidence at all.
It's gonna be a long episode. Essa.
Yeah.
Nah, not if Sean has anything to do with it. It'll be done in like 30 minutes. It'll be fine.
Are you saying I have short episodes? What are you saying?
I'm saying. I'm just saying, continue.
So that is our topic today. When the brain writes a story to convince that wants to convince you of something that has happened probably hasn't. Nary a piece of evidence. This is something that I am guilty of. I have dealt with for as long as I can remember and continue to deal with. This is something born of conditioning, born of trauma, born of experiences, and this is a coping mechanism. So, 30 minutes is just the warm up. Depends on what we're doing. Depends on the activity.
See, this is a Sean-centered show, so we ain't going to be here long because he's going to be absolutely so uncomfortable. He's going to try and speed run this.
That's fair.
That's exactly what this is,
yeah.
because he doesn't go deep when it's episodes focused on him.
Wait, the decision episode was one of those. Did it went 2 hours?
Why did it go 2 hours? You know why. I was sick and I was not having your shit, and I was calling you out on it.
That's true.
That's why it went 2 hours.
Wait, you're not gonna call me out on any of these on this one, because I fully expect you to.
It's fine. It's a I meet your energy. Where we at today, Sean? Where we at today? How we gonna act today, Sean?
I'm not picking violence. I am just.
You pick. You know, if you're not honest, then notice his cup automatically went to his face.
This is my generic coffee cup.
My brain is trying to convince my brain never ends the sentence. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Mine will write whole sentences. It will finish the sentence. It will do a lot. My brain can be a lot more active than I want it to be. And a lot of times that activity is not healthy. It's not helpful. It's not really what I want it to be, but it is what it has been conditioned to do. So yeah. Walked into a room, felt the energy shift, felt people looking, felt people not looking. This is also where the spotlight effect comes in play. It kind of overlaps with the spotlight effect. So if you've ever done something and thought everybody was looking at you, when they're probably not, yeah, that's kind of the same. That's the same thing. Yeah, it feels, it can feel like intuition. It can feel like it's normal and natural, and like it's helping you, but it's really not. At least for me, it's not. So, yeah. I'm pausing. I'm letting.
You're just hoping I say something, because the reality is that, like, I mean, this is not something. The story I tell myself isn't against anything or anyone else, and it's not. I don't finish this sentence. I don't, that's not how I cope. That's not a mechanism that I create, because I just don't. I don't. I never, I've walked into rooms and just thought, but it's never been a whole, oh, everybody's gonna look at me, or like, I mean, I do care about what people think about me, but I don't create things in my head, especially when it involves other people.
Yeah,
But I think it's because I'm too hypervigilant. I think it's because I am the black sheep. I think it's because I don't do this. I don't create stories. I think mine is because so many times I have been gaslit, so many times that I have been to blame for something. It is never I don't finish a story. It is I always check my facts. I
Hmm.
always go back and I always am accumulating evidence. So it's never completing a sentence. It's not ever making up a story. It is absolutely 100%. I find irrefutable evidence. So I'm never creating something.
Hmm.
I am always finding evidence. And evidence is like very much like I remember, well, you were standing in the kitchen, you were wearing a blue sweater, and then you said this sentence before this sentence, and you said that, and you said this is what I'm going off of. Like that is a big because it was always everything got twisted on me. The stories that other people created
Gotcha.
got twisted on me. So I never create the story. I am always defending my truth.
Defending the story, defending it. Gotcha.
So I'm
Okay.
always 9 times out of 10 it's with you. So it's like I never. It's like you're always creating these stories, and I'm always going, no, Sean. Here, XYZ 543. Like here's
Yeah.
all the things about why that story that you created was wrong, and that's why I don't.
Gotcha. But that's fair. Yeah, I'm an overthinker, as we talked about last week. There's a lot of overthinking that happens here, and that overthinking because I don't come right out and say stuff. I'm like I'll process it, but then I'll instead of processing it and then dealing with it, like having a conversation, asking questions, I overthink it, and so that it shifts from processing to overthinking, and then I do things like having entire conversations with the other person, with someone in my head, having the conversation, rehearsing the conversation. I become so confident in what the other person is going to say and how they're going to respond that I will then like write it off or talk myself out of actually having the conversation, um, and then end up in a bad place. And if it goes a step further, then I end up then it creates emotions come out of those thoughts, and then I start like I get upset with the person for a conversation we never even had, or something that they never even said, but I said in my head. I assumed that they would respond a certain way, and I get mad at them, I get upset with them, and I react to that because I swore that's what they would say. Sometimes the way I think someone's going to respond is the way they're going to respond, is the way they end up responding. But a lot of the time, it's not. I would probably say most of the time, it's not. It's not exactly 100% the way they respond. Maybe similar, but it's not 100%. And so, one of the awful things about that is I take away agency from the other person by not giving them an opportunity to respond. This is what I've learned from the many times that I've done this to Anna.
For the
Um,
past 25 years.
yeah, yeah.
This is why I don't do this.
Mhm.
This is the very reason why I don't do this. I can tell you the other side, how it feels on the other side, but I can't.
Mhm.
Nope.
So instead of asking the questions and gathering the information, I will concoct the story. And then it can often lead to getting upset with the other person for a story that I've created in my head. It's exhausting for everyone, not just for myself, for everyone involved.
Oh no, it is absolutely 100% almost ruined our relationship.
Hmm.
Like completely 100% almost ruined our relationship.
Yeah.
Because here's what it feels like on the other side. Like something will happen. So I will say something and I will say
Hmm.
something and I will try to make it clear. And I spent a lot of time and energy just trying to be upfront because I know the truth is the truth that Sean's going to have. Is it going to be the actual truth that he retains, or is it the truth according to Sean? And that's the problem. And that's the exhausting part of being somebody on the other side of this is when you're the other person that it's constantly happening to.
Hmm.
You are constantly defending yourself. You are constantly trying to make sure that you are mitigating what's going to happen. You are constantly having to have, okay, you like, okay, this is XYZ, and making sure that you have that because God knows it's about to come up. Yeah, and I'm always constantly on the defense. And then and it doesn't matter what I do, because that's the point. No matter what I do, no matter how upfront I am before the situation happens, before anything I say anything, before anything happens, he's already made up his mind. So it doesn't matter what I do, because in the end, I'm still going to be on the wrong side of this. And so in the end, I'm going, here's the evidence, and here's what you said, and here's the text messages, and here's the situation. Here's actually what happened, but you've actually created something else in your head. And it's just exhausting to the point where it's just like, you know what? Whatever, because it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. And I no longer want to just be around that. And I no longer want to talk about that, because it's not going to matter. It is absolutely not going to matter.
That's fair. Yeah, I admit that I have done that for so many years. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting for you. So that is something that I am very much working on. But yes, I've done it for a long time, and still do. Like I said, I still do. It's not something that I don't have to worry about this anymore. This is another one of those things that I'm not cured, and all of a sudden I'm healthy, and that never comes up. It becomes, because it comes out of the nervous system, and the way the years and years of reacting this way. It's not something that I'm ever just healed from. It's something that I learned to manage better. Yeah. So why does my brain do this? Because I've done it for a long time. But why did I start doing it? Because the brain is great at pattern recognition. The problem is it fills in gaps. It loves to fill in gaps because it's trying to keep me safe. Whatever it perceives as a threat is trying to keep me safe from, whether it's a real threat or not. And so my brain will just start filling in gaps. Last year, I mentioned this last year, where I was like, my brain starts connecting dots. And it's not like the kind where you can look at dots and say, oh, there's absolutely a picture here. No, it's like dots that are on different disparate sides of the page. And I'm connecting dots that aren't anywhere, that aren't even there.
But he's connecting dots that he creates.
Yes, I am making my own dots in this connected dots pattern picture. I am making my own dots.
She has brown hair, and this person with brown hair hurt me 12 years ago, and this person, and she was drinking a freaking sugar-free latte, and that is so she has brown hair and sugar-free latte, so she's going to do this because of that.
Yes.
That is literally what it's like.
They both ordered the same beverage.
They did. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but that is literally what it's like.
Happened. And no, that has happened.
It is. And from this end, are you fucking kidding me? Okay, how many people do this, or how many people have brown hair?
Yeah.
Where is this coming from? And that's where it's just like, but when you're on this side of it, I'm constantly going, okay, just for existing. Okay.
There are people, there are relationships, there are friends in my past where things have, but where I've been hurt, and so instead of that being an isolated situation, I then begin looking for patterns based upon these old hurts, these wounds, these things that happened years ago into my teenage years, my childhood. And I start recognizing those patterns. My brain starts recognizing those patterns and immediately says, well, that's still a thing. I still need to keep myself safe. These people might hurt me because 40 years ago, 30 years ago, this similar thing, sort of similar in air quotes, because one point, one dot, one piece of information is what it can be based off of. that must still be a thing now. And so my brain and nervous system wants to keep me safe, and so it starts filling in gaps and creating dots and goes, this is happening, you need to deal with this, because if you don't, you're going to get hurt again. Something's going to happen. And so it's great about predicting this stuff. It's terrible about whether it's supposed to actually be doing that, whether you're actually safe or not.
But predicting things is unhealthy.
Yes. Yeah. But
predicting things is
it's a survival mechanism.
It is a survival mechanism, but I would be remiss if saying, like, we're talking about this like, yes, it is something we do as a survival mechanism, but it's still unhealthy. It's unhealthy survival mechanism, and it's a hurtful survival mechanism. And 9 times out of 10, the predictions aren't correct.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Yeah, I'm not saying that the prediction thing keeps me healthy, keeps me surviving. It's something that it does, but it doesn't need to be doing that. But it doesn't know that, and it refuses to adhere to it.
And that's where when you're in the healing process, where self-reflection is so important. And if you can't self-reflect in an honest way, and in a way that is very raw and vulnerable with yourself, then you're going to keep repeating this cycle. And you can't just go, oh, well, I do it because of this. Okay, well, that's great. But then you have to be able to go, I am trying to survive. I'm trying to keep myself safe, but it's no longer serving me anymore.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to continue to keep predicting things. And it's just like you, Sean, in that, your brain goes, okay, I want to check the facts. But is it the facts, or is it the facts according to Sean? And that's the other thing. If you are not being completely honest with yourself in that, saying, okay, my brain is doing this, I'm going to check the facts, and saying, okay, well, they told me this. This is what the fact is. It's a fact. This is what they're saying, and I'm going to move on. You can't just say, this is what they're saying, and then continue on with the story that you're telling yourself. Because then you didn't check the facts. You were just trying to fill in holes and gaps in your story.
Yes, absolutely. After having done it so long, it feels familiar, and that's the problem. It's what I'm used to, and so because I
love the fact you use the moist one. That's my favorite.
Oh God, of course.
And the little cows are my favorite. They're my favorite emojis. I love the fact I added the little cows.
This is adorable. That I've done it for so long that it becomes familiar, and even worse, it is more difficult, because I've done it for so long, to differentiate, to discern between what is the fact and what is the story. It is really easy for me to take a fact and build it and identify the fact based on the story I've wrapped around it. Because it feels, the familiar feeling is that whole thing is a fact. When in not, there's a little nugget of a fact in there surrounded by a whole lot of story. And so that's where I have to really analyze or look at it and go, okay, what is the fact? The fact is, I got a text said this. The fact is, this specific thing was done. Not all the meaning that I apply to it. This action occurred. This thing was said. This text was received, sent, whatever. And that's it. Just the facts. And that is a lot of work. That to discern. It's not something easy. I can that's the fact and move on. I still have to go, what is the fact and what is not the fact, and really and spend some time on making sure that what I'm looking at is the fact and not the story.
No. That's not how facts work.
What do you mean?
Okay, for example, all right. I'll use an example from my life. So I have my office manager. She and I are really close. We're really good friends. I noticed that she was being, she was laughing with some people, but like being very matter of fact with me. And this went on for about a week. And her and I are really close, and I'm like, but I'm feeling like, okay, in my brain is, because it normally goes to this, especially I'm a people pleaser and a high performer and a perfectionist. I am sitting here going, did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong? And she's just not telling me. Am I doing something wrong? And I was like, okay, well, I didn't do anything wrong, but I'll just sit with this feeling for a minute. And so that went on for a few days. And then I was like, you know what? No. Okay. So I am done feeling this way. I do not want to feel this way. I know I haven't done anything wrong, but I am noticing this change in her behavior. So I am going to ask her. So I went and I sat, very just not flashy, just going to said, hey, I just want to ask you, I've noticed that you've been acting a little off with me, a little like very just matter of fact and business-like with me. And that's normally not how we interact. And I just want to make sure that I haven't done anything that I need to correct or I need to adjust, or maybe I've done something that maybe you haven't had the opportunity to talk to me about. And she's like, no, here is XYZ. You have not done anything wrong. I really appreciate you asking. No, I'll always be honest with you. This is just what I'm going through right now. And it's just really hard what I'm dealing with. And I was like, okay, well, let me know if I need anything. And then I take it and there's not anything else. It's just, okay, I'm going to accept this is what it is. That is the fact. And that's period. There's no debating on whether it's the fact or it's not the fact, whether it's what I feel or what I feel. That is what she told me, and I'm going to accept it for what it is. And then I say, okay, that's the fact. I'm going to adjust my mindset. I didn't do anything. I'm going to go about my day. That's what checking the facts is. It's going, I need, like, if they don't text me back in time, and it's like, oh, are they like, okay, did I do something wrong? I'm feeling like maybe I did something wrong because I haven't heard from you in a while. I've been really busy. I've had work on it. Okay, cool. All right. I just need to know. I just need you to know that I am feeling this way. And I'm going to trust you. And it takes checking the facts, trusting the other person. If you're having to question and then debate yourself about what the fact is, then you're not just accepting it's the facts. Then you're using the tool all wrong.
It's
because a fact is a fact. That is what it is for. It is what you can the just the facts and how they use that in DBT. And this is what I'm like, because it can get really dangerous if you're not using this tool correctly. The point of checking the facts is it has to be, you can prove it in court. And you have to accept, if they tell you this is what you said, this is what you can prove in court. Otherwise, everything else is conjecture, everything else is a guess, and everything else is like, that is what is causing the emotional disruption.
All right, so let me reframe what I said. Because I said it wrong. The difficulty isn't identifying what is the fact and what's the story. The difficult part is saying this is the fact and this is the story I'm making up, and accepting that, because my brain wants to go, but the story's true. And emotions, and it brings out that story elicits emotions, and the difficulty part is going, that's the story, that's not the fact, that's the story. That's the hard part. I know what the fact is, but it's accepting that is the fact and the story is just a story.
Right. But here's also the thing. Words matter, and what you concentrate on is what persists.
Yes.
So if you're not saying, if you're going, no, but this is what the story, and you just say, well, that's not what they said. That's not the fact. That's not the fact. Then you're not rewiring your brain. You're concentrating on the story. Yeah. What you need to do, what worked for me, let me rephrase it that way. What worked for me is not going, like, for example, my office manager, it's like, but she was acting weird, but that's not what she said. But she was acting weird, but that's not what she said. The way it is I've got to retrain my brain on going, she's not mad at me. She said she was not mad at me. she's not mad at me. So even when the feeling comes up, I don't go, okay, well, let me replay this and then try to compare it. No, I literally concentrate on what the fact was. The fact of the matter is somebody isn't texting me back. I'm feeling a little anxious attachment. I'm feeling a little abandoned or whatever. And I ask them and they tell me, no, I'm not mad at you. I'm just tired. Or no, I'm not upset with you. I have a big project due at work and this is what's taking my time. They're busy at work. They're not, it doesn't have to do with me. They're busy at work. That is the fact. That is what I'm concentrating on. Because if you concentrate on, I'm feeling abandoned, I'm feeling neglected, I'm feeling this. Yes, you should acknowledge it, but then you're still concentrating on the story and you're not concentrating on the truth. So again, it comes back to, is it the truth or is it the truth according to you? So again, that's why words matter. You can't rewrite that nervous system and that protection if you aren't concentrating on the right thing, because you end up re-traumatizing yourself and you end up using it the wrong way.
See, I am prone to, whenever there's like there's a gap, let's say a gap in communication, they haven't texted back, they haven't responded, there's no communication. That's where I want to go, okay, I did something wrong, I said something wrong, they're mad at me. I've done, and that's what I've spent a lot of my time, is either, even if I didn't say anything about that, that's what I convince myself of. And then I would react to that being, thinking that was the case. Or there are other times where I would then go, oh, you must be mad at me. Did I do something wrong? And I think I've often flipped the opposite side, where I'm like, no, I just haven't. Like that story comes up, and then I'm like, okay, just because they haven't messaged me doesn't mean I've done something wrong. Just because they message me doesn't mean that they don't care, or that they, because I'm very moment to moment, and so I'm like, just because there is a gap in time doesn't mean, because I want the soothing, the whole, you're not mad at me, right? Like, I need to be okay. I need you to make me okay. And so instead of constantly reaching out, I'm like, could be any number of things. Is there anything that's happened where they might be upset with me? Is there a possibility? And I often will just try to let it go. A lack of communication doesn't signify anything beyond the fact is there just hasn't been any communication.
Yes, but what are you doing to refute that?
Well, I look to see if there's. I look at facts. I look to see if there's been anything that's happened.
See, that's the thing, is that if you're telling yourself the story, you're telling yourself this story, you're telling yourself this story, or whatever story it is, you're telling yourself. Okay, that's you protecting yourself. That's you predicting. That is very normal. That is, I mean, it does happen to all of us. Like I did, like in my thing, I was like, oh my God, is she mad at me? Like, is she mad at me? Is like, I'm feeling like, did I do something wrong? No, I didn't do anything wrong. Yes, and that's true. I didn't do anything wrong. But I don't know that because I'm not them. Maybe I did do something wrong and they just haven't had a chance to talk to me. Or maybe they did do something, but I'm not giving them the opportunity to set the story straight. If I'm not saying anything and I just sit in the discomfort of, I know I didn't do anything wrong, then that's not actually finding out the real, because there's like anything else, there's my perception, your perception, and then there's what's the actual reality. And even then, it just depends on what point of view we're coming from. But then again, that's taking away, I didn't do anything, or they're just busy. But maybe they aren't talking to you because they're upset with you, but you're not asking them. You're creating the truth again.
Well, I'm telling myself a different story.
Right.
I've just
so
changed
it's, you
the
just
story.
Story to story, it's still not the truth. It's still you protecting yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they are mad at me, but I don't want to ask them because I'm afraid of what the answer will be, because I'm afraid of what the truth will be. And that's a very hard thing to do also when your brain is creating these feelings and you're creating these stories, because sometimes you don't want to hear the truth. So you create another story so that you can avoid that truth.
I think there's also the anxious attachment, and that's what I think about is, because if I'm anxiously attached, so like I am like I want that. I want that. Are you thinking about me? Or is there, have I done anything wrong? I want to make sure that we're okay. If I'm constantly asking that because of my attachment, because I'm attachment wounded, and I'm not dealing with it myself, that creates its own problem. So I'm having this. That's what I find myself dealing with. That's why I guess I've switched stories, is because I'm like, I'm constantly feeling this, or I feel this often. But if every day or every couple of hours I'm messaging a person and going, "Are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Are we okay?"
But you're not
Then-
naming the problem.
Okay, so, hey, I'm feeling insecure.
Okay. What are you telling yourself when you say you feel insecure?
What am I telling myself is, I look to see, like, where it's coming from. What am I feeling insecure about?
Why do you have to find out why?
Because is it something that am I looking for someone else to validate or soothe me, or am I looking for something that
I'm going to tell you something my therapist tells me, and I really fucking hate hearing it. And I make this very, very clear. I really, really, really fucking hate hearing this, and I hear it often. I hear it often in my therapy sessions. You don't have to fix every feeling you have. You're feeling insecure, you can go, I'm feeling insecure. And sit in it. Because they come and they go. Trying to fix every single feeling, every single thought, every single thing, especially when you're traumatized, is exhausting, and it is actually re-traumatizing yourself. I struggle not to believe what my brain tells me, and that makes me really insecure.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah. Why are you so afraid of sitting in just the feeling and letting it go?
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. But you don't have to fix it. You don't have to create a story. It is not necessary for you to fix everything or find a reason why or find a source of trauma or find out or fix everything. It's not possible. It is not possible. And again, this is something that I'm repeating from my therapist that she has said to me that I struggle with. It is not possible for you to fix every single uncomfortable feeling that you have. There is not always a major source. There is not a source of trauma. It's just a feeling. So, in turn, trying to create a reason, because sometimes that's the story that you tell yourself. You are creating a reason that you feel insecure instead of just sometimes going, I feel fucking insecure. And that sucks.
It does suck.
But I'm insecure. I don't stand there and, like, for me, I've had to work very hard at this. I don't stand there and go, I'm insecure because I have body issues and because I've this and because of that and because of this. Because then I am now concentrating on the insecurity, which is then making it a bigger thing than it really is.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
It is not denying that I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling insecure. I can be honest. That is the truth. That I am feeling insecure. And I don't know why is an answer. and just sitting in it and going, I'm feeling insecure, but also accepting this feeling will pass. It's just like saying it's a bad day, not a bad life. It's a bad moment, not a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same concept. Something really shitty happened. And if you concentrate on the fact that this really shitty thing happened, you ripped your pants, you got embarrassed, whatever, and you let it ruin your entire day because you're concentrating on that one really shitty thing, then everything becomes shitty.
That is true.
That's exactly what this is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making a story to justify feeling the feeling or thinking the thoughts. I'm creating the story because I have to justify feeling something. Sean,
What?
you do not have to create stories to justify feeling feelings. Feeling feelings are just feelings, and thoughts happen.
They happen a lot.
Yeah, because we're human. You're not going to always feel comfortable. You're not always going to have happy thoughts. Healing isn't about always being happy and joyful and being calm and not triggered and not things. And I think that from what I've experienced with you, you are constantly having to justify having feelings. So you create the story to justify having feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's I gotta understand the feeling, gotta analyze the feeling, gotta know where it came from and why it happened, and
then you get mad when nobody cares about how the story that you've told yourself or all of the mental work that you've done because you need to justify why that was like, okay, you were feeling insecure. Sorry. Well, I'm feeling insecure because you said X, Y, and Z, and I'm feeling this, and my t-shirt wasn't fitting right today. And, I said something dumb, and I ruminated it over and over again. Okay.
yeah, that's what happens.
What do you want me to do about it?
Say okay. It's okay to feel. Yeah.
Slowly, it's getting better with sitting with my feelings. Therapy helped me see that it's okay to feel what I feel. Yes, Asta. And that is exactly what my therapist is telling me, because I am working on feeling angry, and I am working on feeling, working on feeling all of these things and sitting in it.
I don't like that.
And going, it's okay to sit in it, and it's okay to not fix it, and it's okay to feel it and it not need to have a reason. And that sucks. Because I would constantly, in my therapy sessions, I'd be constantly like, I need to know why. I need to know why I felt this way, when where it came from, what's the source trauma, so I can heal the source trauma so that I never feel this way again.
Yes, exactly. That's yes.
That's unhealthy.
And she gave you the answer, right? She told you how to do that.
She laughed at me.
And then told you just to feel it.
She goes, I'm sorry, that's not how it works. And that's exactly what she said. She constantly says that. I'm sorry, that's not how it works.
I'm not a fan of your therapist either.
You can't mechanic your feelings. You can't.
Really? Come on, Kevin. I feel like I can just, if I got the right socket. Yeah, it is. I do not like uncomfortable feelings and sitting with uncomfortable feelings.
You have to have I think the thing is you have to create the story. You have to finish the sentence because you have to have a reason why.
Yeah.
And why do you have to have a why?
Because. Not enough 10 millimeters in the world to mechanic your feelings. All right, fine. Yeah, so now I find that I'm Just swapping stories for stories. Yay! That won't stop us from getting more tools to try. That is true, Jay. That is true. Uh,
Sean always he regrets his decision to pick the topic
I
every
do.
single time.
And yet, and you still make me do it. Do you get some sort of pleasure out of entertainment? Some amusement?
No. I just find it amusing because he
Hmm.
like a lot of times he's like, oh, he picks one, he's like, I can talk about this.
Yeah, and then we
But
start
then
talking about
but
it.
then when we start talking about it and I start like, okay, well, here's like what
Start
I
unpacking it.
need you to really think about this. Then he goes, shit.
Yeah. Can we let's change topics. So what can we talk about now?
Hey, why don't you go to segment 3, Sean?
Oh, three. Oh God. Oh yeah. So I
You
was
about
okay.
you about to watch some discomfort on a epic global scale right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The gap. There's a gap between the trigger.
She's making you face your shit when you don't want another Anna superpower. I
That is
mean,
true. Mm-hmm. Just kind of pointing it out, poking it. There it is. Right
no,
there.
I'm not poking shit. I'm literally sliding back the curtain and go, there's this dude. There's a fucking wizard. There's a goddamn old dude right here.
There's some old guy standing there. This is a light, easy workout, warm up. What I got myself?
Not
Yeah,
mean, just
exactly.
realistic. Thank you, Asta. Sean used to call me mean all the time. Actually, I feel like the word was cruel. He used to call me cruel. My honesty was cruel.
I think the way that you delivered it sometimes was.
Okay, well that's different than the honesty itself, but you wouldn't say how I delivered it.
Well, I didn't understand it back then.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Yeah. You're not cruel. I don't see you as cruel.
Nope.
Mm-mm. So, all right. I think I've avoided that for a couple minutes.
I'm gonna sit here on mute for. I'm just gonna sit here and not say anything. You go ahead.
Uh, um, how do we deal with the pattern? How do we interrupt the pattern? How do we? There's some questions you can ask to figure out the gap between the sugar and the truth. There's some questions. What do I actually know? This is one of the facts. And every time I say the fact, I think about like just the facts, man. What was that Blues Brothers? Just the facts. Facts only, no interpretations. And that's I am quick to try to lump them together. So what do I actually know? And I'm guilty of being 100% convinced of something with absolutely no facts, no relevant facts. And so that's the first question. What are the facts? What do I actually know? Do I know anything? Or am I just making things up? So the other one is what am I assuming? What's the story? So name the facts and actually name it out loud. Journal it, put it out loud.
And that's why I appreciate you, Essa.
Yeah.
Because that's why I appreciate you. Because in America, it's not that not that way.
Especially in the South, it is like the opposite. It is all sugar. Yeah. So naming the story out loud. What's the story I'm telling myself? So what are the facts? What's the story? And what do I need to know to find out if it's true? How do I get more facts? How do I question this? See, that's the part. Like 1 and 2, I'm better at. I'm better at. I am.
We're being honest, Sean.
Still got a ways to go.
Okay. How often do you actually ask yourself these 3 questions?
Often. I do. Because I am very quick to just start making stuff up.
You know what? I need to move to the Netherlands. And at this point, I'd
Yeah.
probably be safer for me to move to the Netherlands, but we're just gonna close over that one. But yeah,
Yeah.
need to learn to
And
speak Dutch.
and it was interesting is even then there are other cultures that think that Americans are too blunt.
Yeah.
Even as sugar coated, we're still too blunt. Um, so the third one, the third one is that's where I really struggle. Is what do I need to know? How do I check? How do I check this? How do I get more facts? How do I find out what more truth is? Where do I get more truth? Even if you're Dutch. And so because I either don't know if I want, like, do I really want the truth? Do I like what if the truth, like, what if the truth is what I think it is? What if it's worse? What if it's I'm so when it comes to that third step, I'm also guilty of catastrophizing. I'm like, oh my god, what if I ask and find out and it's so much worse? It gets worse. What if the thing I'm worried about is actually true? And I've been guilty of I would rather sit in this make believe than actually find out the truth. Even when the make believe hurts, I would rather do that than find out the truth. Yeah. It's not healthy. So that is what I really, that's the one that I don't do very often, and they need to. It would be healthier to do it a lot more. Ask questions find out the truth. That's not passive aggressive. That's not. See, it's the direct questions. I will even if I get to the point where I will go, okay, I need to find out the truth. I should find out the truth. Let me ask. I will then sit and spin on the question, because like I'll type out the question, and then like, well, that sounds rude. That's like too direct. That's rude. That's even if it's just a straightforward question. It's just a very direct question. My brain goes, well, that's like rude. That seems like very. That's not a good way to get. And then the more I think about it, the more weird and like passive aggressive it becomes.
You know why?
Why?
Because you didn't name the story of what you're assuming. You skip over 2 all the time.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. June.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah.
You skip over 2 all the time. You'd probably do 1. Mm-hmm. I would say, yeah, you do 1, but you skip over 2.
Yeah.
You don't ever, because
You're right.
I don't like to say that. You very rarely do 2, because asking yourself, what am I assuming, means holding yourself accountable, means saying this is made up. This is what I have made up. It's that, because you don't do that. That is not what you do. What you do is you don't say, this is what I'm assuming. I need to check this. Yeah. What you do is you say, what do I actually know? And you don't ever ask yourself, what is the story?
The question. Oh, okay. The question I end up when I get to step 3, if I'm actually in step 3, I've skipped step 2. I end up asking a question based on the story, because I haven't told myself this is the story. So I'm asking a question. I'm asking the wrong question. I'm asking probably a bad question. I'm asking it in a bad way, because I'm basing that question around the story that I've told myself.
So you're not asking the question.
So I'm not asking a direct question.
Yeah, and you're not asking for the truth.
Yes.
And that's the part why. What do I actually know? Okay, that is probably a very basic answer, as a basic question we ask ourselves. But 2 is the most important part, not 3. 2 is the big one. 2 is the big one. What am I assuming? What is the story I'm telling myself? What is the the information that I am filling in? What is like, okay, here's fact A and here's fact, D. What is B and C?
I'm looking for E. I'm looking for like the step after the
Yeah,
story I
like
filled
you're
out.
totally, and you're
Yeah.
what you're also doing is you're totally negating the accountability that comes on you. And that's the problem that I think that I've had for whoever has done this to me, is that you are asking me a question before even taking accountability for you, for yourself. So you're automatically putting all of the weight and all of the fault and all of that like responsibility and emotional weight and emotional work on me before even doing any yourself. And so without,
Yeah.
what am I assuming? What am I making up? What are the dots that I have created and filled in for myself? Without asking that question of yourself, you are totally bypassing your accountability and absolutely then going, okay, well, I'm going to ask all of these questions on the story I tell, and vilifying and making and putting the blame on the other person. And you're not even checking your facts.
Yeah.
Because that's
Like-
when it's not checking your facts. Because you don't know what the facts are, because you haven't stopped and said, what is an actual fact and what am I making up?
Whew.
I told
Yeah.
you, Sean,
Yeah.
you wanted to go down this road. I'll be happy to go down this road.
That is, yeah, that is true. My questions become like loaded questions, and sometimes probably come out of left field. Like you're like, where is this question even coming from? It's because that I'm asking a question based on a story and not based on the facts and the emotion and what I'm based on the facts. Yeah. I'm gonna work on that. I need to work on that.
Because the reality is, it alienates and ruins most of your friendships. He is making it so hard for himself. This is what he does. And we love him for it.
I do.
Oh, you want to choose the topic? Okay, but we ain't going to skate over it.
No, I never expected. I
think
never
the
expected we're skating over it, but I never quite like.
He never prepares himself. And that's always like one of
No.
the, oh, you're going to call my shit out on the internet? Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yup.
Are you, that's where when she sees the title and she goes, "You sure that's the topic?"
I literally went,
Yeah, that's what.
this
That's
was
what
my
the
face
the
today.
eyebrow-
Oh,
it was.
this is the topic today. Okay.
That's the amusement of, are you sure that's what you want to do? Okay.
I think I get really defensive about especially this section, and I get really about this situation. One, because it's happened between me and Sean so often. I think that this is also coming from a place of having this happen over and over and over and over and over again, that it got to the point to where I was so exhausted and so mentally and emotionally, I realized I was taking on, because I was like, okay, I want somebody I love and I care about to feel safe and feel emotionally, and I want to tell him the truth, and but when I realized is instead of telling the truth, I was always defending myself. And and what I realized for me on the receiving end of a lot of this was, as I was always defending myself, and it was unfair. It was one of those. So then I was repeating my unhealthy pattern of that. It's one of those, I had to gather the facts for the deposition that was going to come my way. I always felt like I was on trial. I always felt like and no matter what I said, the questions always came like they were it wasn't just, okay, this was your account of the experience. This is what your truth was. This is how you can, it was a constant questions, I felt like I was on a witness stand with somebody on like just trying to, how they ask you questions to break you down and to break through your truth and trying to find holes in your defense.
Cross-examination.
Yes. And it was and I always felt like that. I felt like it wasn't just, oh, this is your recounting. It was a very much of, I was constantly being asked questions and I was being like, okay, well, here's this truth. So here you say this and you said that and you said this. And it was always like, almost like I felt like I was trying, like he was trying to find holes in my
Mhm.
truth. And it was one of those, I always was on the defense. And I was carrying this load of, he wasn't asking me to find the truth. He was asking me because he was looking for me to support his story.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't looking for the truth. I was looking for the evidence to bolster the story, to confirm the story that I told myself.
so that is why, what am I assuming is the most important question out of all of those three questions.
Yeah.
Because that is your own accountability. That is going, okay, I am making XYZ assumptions. They have not done anything to prove it, or maybe they've done something and I am saying it, but this is what I am assuming from this.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you also have to say, this is what I'm assuming with this, and be ready to be wrong. And that's the other part, is you have to be ready to be wrong, which 9 times out of 10, you are. And that's the other thing that Sean struggles with, especially when it comes to me, is he does not like to be wrong. So he is, and I feel like that's where it becomes really defensive for me. Because again, it's putting me in a mental and emotional state back of being, I'm the black sheep, I'm the scapegoat, and no matter what I do, no matter what the truth is, no matter what it is, I'm always going to be wrong. And so it puts me in a bad mental health state, and I'm sitting here going, what the fuck do I do? I don't know what else to tell him.
Yeah.
Because this is the truth. Even when I show up with evidence, hard like screenshots and literally date time stamps and people and fucking witnesses, and it still doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then I'm right back to my trauma. And that's hard.
Yeah, it's a very ugly cycle that that I put us in.
But it's and just because I understand that you're doing it to protect yourself and you're doing it from a place of trauma and doing it a place of trigger does not change the fact, the impact that it has.
Yeah. It's an explanation, not a excuse.
And I over time, because I am the enabler and I'm the people pleaser, and I am just trying to like, okay, well, he just needs compassion. He just needs understanding. I just need to explain myself better. Maybe I need to explain myself in a different way. And I had to come to the truth. And the reality is I was keeping myself in a place and going, I can tell him the truth. And if he doesn't accept it, then that's on him.
Yeah.
And he did not like that very much.
I wish it was as simple as just once I have the truth, or once we've talked. I wish it was that simple. That I was like, oh, okay, well, boom, move on. No, unfortunately, it often wasn't.
I come from a place where I assume I'm wrong. See, and that's where I come from. I want to be wrong. There are times where it's like, I think because of my trauma, being the scapegoat and being the thing, and I do pattern recognition and evidence and stuff. Because of the place that I've been put in with certain people in my life, not Sean. I would lie to myself and tell myself, I would tell myself the opposite story. That they weren't doing wrong. That there's no way they could be doing me wrong. I would tell myself the other story.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to see the truth. And I was wrong. And it ended up hurting me. So it can go in opposite directions, I guess.
Yeah. Telling us our stories, what direction does it go? Yeah. I have had to do in past relationships, I have had to do detective work. And I have found out that a lot of times there was a problem, and it wasn't until I
All right, keep
figured
going.
things out. Wasn't until I figured things out that that was like, oh, I suddenly put two and two together, and I connected the dots. And what happened is, I ended up being right. I've had a lot of relationships where that's happened, and so I bring that baggage forward with me to where in any friendship or anything, like I assume that I'm right and they're doing me dirty, and they're not telling me the truth, and so I have to investigate, and I have to figure out, and I can't be direct because the direct route didn't work, or and so I have to just kind of I figure it out myself. I have to connect the dots. But that's me bringing my trauma into current friendships and relationships, and that's not fair to the other person because they weren't responsible for what happened to me, and so I question everything, and I don't accept stuff. Even when told, even when responded to, I often don't accept it. I'm like, I still question it. Is that really the truth?
What mechanisms do you use to help you not skip steps and keep your grounded? Um, your body cues.
Hmm.
Um, like you you know when you're spiraling. You know when you're triggered. Like you can feel it when you're triggered. Um, and for me, it is very much going like those three questions, for example. I'm gonna do the thing. And for me, like checking the facts for DBT, or when I use any of my DBT stuff, it's one of those, okay, what is the fact? What is the fact? I literally ask myself, what is the fact? And I list in my head what the facts are. And none of the facts, like, okay, and I'm feeling this way, the facts are opposite of what I'm feeling. So it's like, I acknowledge that I'm feeling this, but the facts are this. I am, and it's not trying to marry the two together. I think that's the biggest thing for me is I'm not trying to make them match. What is the fact? The fact is he's had a really busy day and he's not ignoring me. I am feeling anxious. I am feeling like I've done something wrong. I am feeling this way. But the fact is, he just has a hard day. And I don't try to make it make sense. I don't try to make the feeling go away. And it's uncomfortable and it sucks. But instead of focusing on, but I'm feeling anxious and I need to feel better, and that's the other thing, is not trying to feel better. It's
Hmm.
just trying to accept the feeling. And that's so fucking hard. Just trying to just accept that a feeling's a feeling and a thought is a thought. And it doesn't have any greater meaning. It just comes out of nowhere. And sometimes they do come out of nowhere and you don't even know why. But then I'm going to sit here and it's like, what's the fact? And the fact, that's my life raft. He's busy today. I'm feeling anxious but he's not mad at me. He's just busy today. I ask, hey, or sometimes I go, hey, I'm feeling anxious. Are you mad at me? I just need to tell myself, are you upset with something I've done? Have I done something? My brain just needs to know. No, I'm not mad at you. No, you've not done anything. Okay. I'm going to hold on to that. That's my life raft. And I think that's just one of those, it's not the fact that I'm not feeling anxious. It's like, I just don't want to feel anxious. I'm not making it, I'm not holding on to the fact that they're not mad at me to make me feel better, but I'm holding on to the fact so that I don't drown in the feeling. And I think that is finding that balance. The story I'm telling myself, what am I assuming? I'm assuming he's mad at me. I asked and I checked the fact. The fact is he's busy. He's got a lot of work to do. He's got whatever. Okay. And I don't try to make myself feel better. I just accept that this is how I'm feeling right now. And I just hold on to the facts so that I'm not drowning in this feeling and these thoughts. And I just let them, I ride that urge. I ride the wave until I ride it to shore. And it eventually does go away. That's what works for me. Other people might do it a different way, but that is how I've broken myself of that cycle. It's just learning the fact isn't to make me feel better. Learning the fact is just so that I don't drown in the assumptions. You, Sean?
Well, we know that I skip steps, so asking me how do I not skip steps is probably not going to get the best answer. Being honest, I can tell you what everything that you said is fantastic. I think that was really I think it's really helpful. I think what I need to do is I have to be more intentional about it, because I will kind of speed run in my head, like I think I'm doing the steps when I'm not. And if I'm thinking about it, my brain can just go in so many different directions that there's really no cohesion. There's no real understanding. So for me, it's saying it out loud. When I say things out loud, that kind of slows everything down, or typing it, or journaling it. So, and I will have to be a lot more intentional about that. And recognizing when it's happening. For me, the feeling is the back of my throat starts to get really tight. I feel my body temperature increases. I'm feeling a threat response. That's what my body is going, oh, there's a threat. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And I can't sit still. Oh my God, I cannot sit still. I am up and pacing and walking around. That's when I'm like, when I can't sit still, even if I'm not conscious of it, I'm like, okay, something has got me. Something is bothering me. My threat response is up. So that's when I've got to be intentional about, okay, what is the facts? And then actually doing the steps instead of skipping the steps. Doing step number 2, and then doing step number 3, because like you said about, asking, hey, I'm feeling this way. This is what's going on with me. And so I'm asking that, that is, to me, that's not okay. That's not it feels wrong to do that. It feels like, why am I doing that? I shouldn't be doing that, because that's my problem. That's me to deal with. Reaching out like that and going, hey, I'm just dealing with something. Seems like, no, I'm weak. I am. That's not okay to do with people. I should just figure it out myself. Just deal with it myself. That's what happens when I think about doing stuff like that. Why am I putting that on you? Or,
so you're putting yourself in your own room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I've got to unlearn that, and I've got to actually do it and intentionally go through those steps instead of trying. Yeah.
I'm looking at segment 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the one that rings out for me, for you, is there's identity in your stories. I'm someone people leave. And without that story, who are you?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That is true. That's one thing that I learned about when I was going through the divorce, the separation and the divorce, and after the divorce is I didn't realize it at the time. It took a lot of conversations like with us and with the therapist. Is the stories about my marriage and the divorce and stuff that kind of became an identity for me. I told and retold. I was like the fisherman where the fish kept getting this big with every story. Like I had told the story so often that I could spin a yarn and I could really entertain the crowd with the story and I could elicit a reaction that I wanted to get to validate myself. And that became my identity. Those stories became my identity. Um, through through the podcast, through conversations, through therapists, that's when I realized I I made her the villain in my story, but if there was a villain, the villain was me. It's taken a lot because I was so wrapped up in the story that I was telling other people, and I told it so often that I fully believed that story. So yeah, that's that's a big deal. Identifying with my stories, identifying with the stories I was telling myself. Yeah, and that's not the only one. Like you said, you know, like I'm someone people leave. I'm someone that you know, people aren't interested in me. You know, that this goes hand in hand with like a low self worth. If I think I'm not important enough, I'm not good enough. If I'm not, people just don't want to be around me. People don't care about me. People don't love me. People are gonna lie to me. So um, when my self image is poor, that becomes even stronger. Because the stories then validate the stories I tell myself just keep bolstering up and validating, lending credence to this story, and they just keep compounding and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, um, not because they're the truth, but because they what's the word I'm looking for? Um, they keep leveraging each other. So yeah, that's why it's hard that's why this is not a since this is hard. Um, so that's why I have to be that's why I said I have to be intentional. I think it's important to be intentional with working through this and going through the steps and taking my time. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Is it?
No, it's not. Well, about that one specifically. I said this earlier. Why they can be hard to let go of is because at one point they were true. At one point, it was something that I was dealing with. But just because it was something I dealt with, just because it's some trauma or something I experienced or was conditioned, doesn't mean it's okay to do now. I can say this is not the direction we're going. We're choosing to do something different. I'm choosing to take responsibility for my part in this and to do something different. Again, it's being intentional and not just. I think I've like sped my nervous system is just kind of like sped run through it, trying everything, and in speed running, I skip steps, and the unhealthy was familiar, and so it's when the unhealthy is familiar, I've got to take time to just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's okay. So it's slowing it down and taking time and not jumping to these stories and yeah, identifying with them. Yes. This is what happens when I pick the topic. I'm like, okay, now what? Have you found yourself identifying with stories?
Hmm?
Have you found yourself identifying with stories?
What do you mean?
Well, in the same way that you've told yourself stories enough times, or enough of the same stories, or that it becomes part of your identity.
Mm, yes. Um, but never in the way that you do.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
All right. Um, stories that have been hardest. I was thinking about stories that have been hardest to let go of, even when you knew it might not be true. Um, some of the stories that have been hard to let go of are people are if people knew more about me, they wouldn't like me. Um, that's a story that's been
Um,
hard.
I think for me, it's one of those. What I realized is the stories that I tell myself that are my identity that I still struggle with are stories that I didn't put in there.
Mhm.
Um, I never. I can't say never. My automatic response is not to play victim because I was always the scapegoat and being with somebody who, like my mother, and it was one of those. She was always the victim, so like that was never my go-to pattern. So going into this is the story. I think one of the few ones that I use is like that I told myself is I was the person that people only what is that? What is that? Like even Chloe used this the other day, the optional friend. It was very optional. Like it
Mhm.
wasn't. They only came to me when something was wrong, when they needed me to fix something, when there
Mhm.
was no other option. I used to call it the old coat. I was the old coat. You didn't need me year round. You just needed me when the situation called for it.
Mhm.
And that was the story that I would tell myself is that was what I believed as my identity is that I was the reliable one because people only used me when something was wrong. But then when things were good, I was ended up nobody asked me to do anything, and then I felt like it wasn't that my worth was based on the things that I could provide, and the things that I
Mhm.
did. I think that's the closest thing to being close to an identity, but I never like that was one of those. Um, yes, I that's the story as I used as my identity, but it's
Mhm.
not in that whole. I never played victim because I was always the villain. I was always the problem. And maybe that's the identity that I lived with for so long as I was
Mhm.
always the problem. I was always the problem. I was
Yeah.
always the villain. No matter what I did, it was that was what it is.
There was one that we've talked about. Can I bring up one that I'm asking if this is something that falls along those lines, or is it something different? Um, can I ask?
I don't
Okay.
know what you're gonna ask, so I guess.
An identity, something that you identified with, a story that you told yourself that you identified with.
Okay.
Uh, um, that your role in people's lives was as, and this may be along the same lines what you just said. Your role as a support character. You are not a main character. You are a background character, a support character.
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, that was not a story I told myself. I think
Okay.
um, that was what I accepted.
Okay.
Um, that is what I accepted. I didn't think I identified with that. I didn't identify with it because I didn't like it. I think it was as a support person because that was the role I was told. So
Gotcha.
that's the role I accepted.
Okay,
I
that
didn't
makes sense.
I didn't identify with it because somewhere in the back of my head I
You
always wanted to be the
you
main
fought that. You
character,
didn't.
but
Yeah.
I didn't identify with it. I just accepted it. I think that's a very big difference in that.
It was a
So
story that was pushed on you.
it was a
That
role I accepted. It was the role I
role.
did.
Okay.
It's like when you get assigned a play and everybody your roles get assigned. It
Hmm.
was the role that I accepted because that was the one I was assigned,
Gotcha.
and I never fought it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that one that I wanted.
You
It
never.
was just
Okay.
I just because I was a people pleaser. I just accepted that
Hmm.
that was my lot in life.
Yeah. Okay.
I often ask myself, "Will I be enough?"
Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
So
Yes.
you talked about your ex-wife. Why don't you talk about how you would do all of this pattern with me?
With you.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So, as I would. I would. I have a fear. I have a fear of being abandoned. There are things that I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of being. Yeah, fear of abandonment is one of them, and so out of nowhere, I'm suddenly like I start thinking, imagining, creating a story. Because I'm afraid of being abandoned, so I'm gonna deal with this so that that doesn't happen. Um, if I prepare for it, then I can't. It won't be so bad. Um, so I would just sometimes out of nowhere come up with this idea of something that you were doing, or that you were going to walk away, or that you were going to um that you were gonna you were just gonna leave, or abandon me. um and so I would then try to figure out what to I would to make myself feel better about that, to deal with that fear. If I made you into a villain, if you were the villain of the story, it's it won't hurt so much. If you were doing everything, if you were doing the wrong stuff, if you were the villain, that when that did happen, when like you did walk away, whatever, it wouldn't hurt me so bad because I was the victim and you were the villain. Um, so it's kind of like preparing myself for it. I was creating the problem. I was creating a potential self fulfilling prophecy, um, by doing that. But that's the stuff, that the stories that would just suddenly pop into my head, or I would we would be talking about something, and you would make a comment that was that was like just offhands, like inconsequential, and I would hear it and begin spinning around that phrase, that word, and I would start attributing meaning to that, to what you said. Now I wouldn't stop and go, "Hey, I this is what I just heard. What did you mean? What were you saying? What were can you explain that to me?" That would have been the healthy thing to do, would be to ask. And then all of that thing that I'm freaking out about would just go away, because, oh, this is what she meant, not all the stuff that I just imagined. That's not what I did. So I would then sit and spin on that. And like when these things happen, not only did this affect what was going to happen later, but it affected right then in that moment, because it wasn't like I just like, okay, I'm in a parking lot that what she said, that word or that phrase, I'm in a parking lot that, and my brain is going to come back to it later. No, my brain attached to it and started immediately spinning on it. And so the rest of the conversation for however long was, my brain was not in that conversation anymore. My brain was off on this tangent. So I wasn't being present at the, then I wasn't being present anymore. And so I would just build this web, this story, this idea, and it was never positive. They're always negative. They're always like, oh, she's doing this and she hates me, or she doesn't care, or creating this story. But I would never, at no point would I actually deal with it, because part of me knew it was a story, but I was also afraid that maybe that there was some validity to it, and I didn't want to deal with the validity of it, the possibility of it, and so I would rather sit with that story than actually find out the truth, even though the truth could have completely made that crazy story go away and me feel better. Me end up going, oh, okay, I just misinterpreted that. The potential of it going the opposite direction and of it actually being truthful I was so afraid of that I was willing to sit in all the uncomfortable emotions that came up because of this. I don't use the word fantasy, because fantasy sounds like something different, like this concept, this idea, this imaginary situation. I was more willing to sit in the emotions, the uncomfortable emotions of that imaginary story, than to say something and deal with the reality, whatever that reality was. The few times where I don't want to say 100%, but it kind of feels that way. Like 100% of the time, no, I'll say 100%. A lot of the time, most of the time, when I actually did say something and I did bring it up, it was like, oh yeah, I was creating this story. It was rarely correct. What this imaginary story was rarely even close to the reality. Sometimes it was just so far from reality. But it was never exactly. They never lined up. It was never like, oh, yep, I knew it. It was no, it was never like that. It was, the imaginary was completely imaginary. Yeah, and there were times where like I would work myself into a frenzy, a tizzy sometimes. Like I would spiral sometimes.
Sometimes.
When these things happened, I did spiral. I spiraled often. I didn't spiral ever. I spiraled often. And sometimes I would reach out and say something, but not reach out in a way of, hey, I'm feeling this way. Can you direct question, or hey, can I get this? Can I can you help me for a moment? Can you tell me this? Whatever. It was never direct like that. It was always like off from the side. It was like, where is this coming from? And sometimes I would compound it by doing those things at like really odd hours, like middle of the night. And yeah, so I would sit and try to like self-soothe, but I was spinning on this story so badly. There was no self-soothing out of that story if I kept focused on that story. And because every thought was like trying to attach more evidence to it, like connecting dots. like I said, making up dots. I was connecting made up dots is really what I was doing. I was taking like two dots and then making a whole bunch of dots in between and drawing a straight line and going, yeah, see, straight line. Or in reality, the dots are probably every which way. So, yeah, I became paranoid. I became very paranoid. A lot of times. Very paranoid, very suspicious, very insecure. And as you said earlier about insecurity, that feeling happens. But I wouldn't respond to those in a healthy way.
And you created an identity for yourself and for me. You played the victim and I played the villain. And that is how we sat in that.
Yeah.
Because I think when your brain is trying to protect itself, whereas in mine always goes to what did I do? And I'm going to create a scenario. Like if anything, I'm creating a scenario that I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? So I can fix it. Yours was the opposite. What did they do wrong?
Yeah.
And it was always, most of the time, it was never like your brain connects. That's why it's always important. It's like, are these the facts or are these the facts according to Sean?
Yeah.
Because it didn't matter what the facts were for me.
I was so convinced by the time I got to the point where I might actually ask, I was so convinced in the validity of my story that it really didn't matter what you said. In fact, I
know
the only thing that I would have believed is if you had said something that contributed to the validity of my story. I was so biased to the negative, so biased to my story. That would be the only thing I believed. Yeah. So that was the pattern. The villain victim was. There were times after we had some of these
tribunals.
Yes, there we go. There were times, and maybe this is. I'm not even going to qualify it. I'm just going to say it and go from there.
Okay.
There were times where the thought that I had when we got off the phone or whatever ended the discussion was, if I was dating myself, if I was in a friendship with myself, if I would have like walked away a long time ago. Like, I can't. This is awful. What I am doing is awful.
Hence the reason, guys, that is why I've been a little defensive on and a little bit more aggressive in this topic. I am just like, because I want our community and those watching to know that I'm not coming out of this attacking Sean. It is coming from a place of this is an issue that Sean is dealing with. That, yes, I'm aware of he dealing with, but it is something that not only as he's dealing with it, and we all deal with it in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that this is something that, yes, it hurts you, but it also hurts somebody else. And I think that's why I was very about making sure step number 2 is the most important, because that's taking on your own accountability, because it never happens. It very rarely happened when it came to me. Hence the reason that, so I'm not coming out of this as I am doing this to attack Sean, and I'm not doing this to like make Sean feel uncomfortable on purpose, but it is also something that I am also very much dealing with on the receiving end of this. Because as I can, 2 things can exist in the same space, as we always know, with the wonderful radical acceptance, or complete acceptance, as my therapist likes to call it. It's just saying, yes, he is doing this to protect himself because that is his coping mechanism, but that doesn't take away the impact on that it hurts me.
Yeah. Yes.
which
So,
then I am having to pull up my unhealthy coping mechanism of I've got to defend myself.
hmm
I have to have evidence. I have to constantly be collecting evidence to make sure that no one in, so that under no uncertain circumstances there is like that he can refute that.
hmm
And it didn't even matter anyway. Even though I knew it wouldn't matter anyway, I still would try and do that. And it got to this point to where I was just I don't know what I just got to the point just like there's no point. You can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not
hmm
going to defend myself. Here's the facts, here's the truth, and if you believe that, then you believe it, and if you don't, then that's on you. That's not on me.
yeah.
And that's an identity. That's sort of like, and it's having to.
Because for us it wasn't for us it wasn't an isolated situation. For us it was a pattern,
Yes.
and that's part of what made it so dangerous, so unhealthy, is that it was a pattern, and we kept repeating the pattern because it didn't matter what, because really it didn't matter what you said. And even if it didn't matter what you said, because at some point either the same thing or something similar happened. Could have been days, could have been weeks, could have been months. It would happen, and then it would be the framework that was there that we had laid out. We were stuck in that framework, and so we repeated that pattern. And every time we left one of these, I was on often when we left these, I was like, oh my god, why am I doing this? Like, this is awful what I'm doing. I wouldn't want to be friends with someone who did this. And I would have that. I'm like, I've got to do something different. And then we'd be right back there weeks later, days later, whatever. Like, it varied, but it was at some point we would be right back there. And then it goes a step further. That thought became part of my identity.
Which thought?
The what I'm doing is awful. I became associating that not as I'm doing something awful, or I'm doing something very unhealthy. I want to change the pattern. I ended up taking that on as I am a bad person. I am a bad friend. I can't do anything healthy. I can't have healthy friendships. I felt there was a point where I started to take that on because it was happening so much, and I felt like I couldn't change it. I wasn't able to change it. I wanted to, but I wasn't. No, I wasn't, because I wasn't doing the work. But that's not what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that now.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't doing a lot of the work that I needed in order to change that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I took on that part as part of my identity as, oh, I'm not a good friend. I'm a terrible friend. And then it was like, I'm a terrible friend. Why is she still friends with me? Why is she still hanging around? And see, that made it worse. So that
which is the bullshit thing, which is the bullshit
yeah
thing about it. It's totally fucked up because I was the villain. I was the one that was hurting him. I was no matter what happened. And it literally, guys, it could be like, I could be as like, there have been times where I literally laid it out word for word. This is what's going to happen. This is what I'm thinking. This is exactly where I'm at. This is exactly how I feel. This is exactly my thoughts. So that there is no confusion. Here it is. Like, laid it out for Sean. Didn't matter because then he would take it and one thing would happen. And like, I should start calling you like Hans Christian Andersen or something, because you would create these fairy tales in your head. And it's just like, where the fuck did that come from?
Some of that, I can tell you, some of those things that happened like that, I was in such a bad place in my mental health. I was in such an insecure, dark place that I spun everything.
And yeah, and it didn't matter. Even though I was being honest and I
Yeah.
was open and there was
Because I
there was nothing that I was doing that was dishonest or
yeah.
any of that,
Yeah.
but it didn't matter because I was a liar and I was whatever evil thing
I
that came to his head in that moment.
mm,
And it was so frustrating. But here's the thing is that
mhm.
he would then go, I'm the villain, but I don't know why she's still here. And I'm like,
Yes.
how's what the fuck is that shit? Like, what is that? How can I be like,
The I was so close to the one, but the one thing that I tried hard to avoid is actually saying the words in the conversation. I'm just a terrible person. I don't know why you're still here. Because I think if I had actually said those words, that would have not gone well. Because
yes,
that's
but the
yeah.
reality is, I have said those to you. If I were any
Yes, you
less of a
have.
person, if
You have.
I had not made, if I don't consciously make this choice, I would not be here. And I've
Yeah.
held him to his shit. I mean,
Yeah.
when I stopped taking on that mantle again
Mhm.
of him telling stories and doing all this stuff, and again, y'all, this is a recent, this is not one that we've been working on for years. This is like recent. When I stopped making that, and I literally said, if I were a less person,
Mhm.
if I didn't love you and I didn't choose to be here, I would have been gone I would have gone years ago. But
Yeah.
I choose to be here.
Yeah.
And it's
That
not me like touting my own horn and it's not me thinking,
mhm.
"Oh, I'm so great." No, it's not. It's me. That's me going, "I'm here by fucking choice."
Mhm.
Not because you're great, not because I'm great. I'm here because by choice.
Mhm.
And I can make a different choice.
Mhm.
Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Cuz
Yes.
I'm done being hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is no question why I'm there. That's always like, why
Mhm.
is she still here? Why am I still
Yeah.
here? Because I choose to be here.
Mhm.
Not because of anything you've done, not because
Mhm.
I am like bound, duty bound or whatever. Why am I still here? Because I know that's the thought that runs through his head. And I tell him,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
choosing to be here. And I can make a different choice.
Mhm. That's sometimes is the life raft that I cling to. If I is the going whenever those thoughts come into my head, like why is she still? I can't believe she's still around. Is no, she chooses to be here.
You choose pep pep. Some days that's a very difficult choice.
Yeah, I do
I
not make that easy. I fully admit it.
sometimes that choice is the last buzzer beater. Like that is very much like today might be the
It's
day. Today
it's
might be
that
that day.
it's the meme of the two buttons with the guy he's wiping his brow and he's the two red buttons, friend, not friend. Yeah. Yeah. So I
Why do you
admit
do this to yourself? You are a fucking emotional masochist. Why do you do this to yourself?
because I'm an emotional masochist. I think that's no, that is that you actually you called that out, and I brought it up to my therapist one time, and he had never heard it. He was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to like that's so." And I yes, and I did attribute it to you
You're welcome.
absolutely.
You're welcome.
Is the emotional cutting?
Mm-hmm.
That's the term that you came up with that we've talked about many times. Is I I emotionally cut. I need that pain is fueling the endorphins. It's a familiar feeling to me.
So the
Um,
cortisol.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I will allow these stories. I will entertain these stories because they elicit certain emotions which crank those chemicals. Just like any other self-harm, just like any physical, mental, any self-harm. That's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing it to myself. Um in order to get that feeling, to get that response. So yeah, he likes the pain. Yeah, that's what I was. I like the emotional pain. It fueled me. So yeah,
Okay. I'll do segment 5. Give yourself a break. Okay, just take a breather.
okay.
Um so I don't 100% agree with all of these, but it's fine. What healthy looks like. Well, like you said, stop and ask those 3 questions. It's noticing the story before you make the text, or like, okay, what am I assuming? And there is nothing wrong with acknowledging that you are assuming something. I want to make that very, very clear. In that, what am I assuming? Is you going, okay, I can recognize reality versus my trauma or my trigger or my emotion. I can recognize the reality that my brain is fucked up and it's doing fucked up things. Okay, this is the story. This is what I'm saying. However, you can still go, I know that this is a story, but and I saw this somewhere where it says somebody texted, you text recalibrating. I need you to help me recalibrate. And that's something that you like. It's like one of those like safe words type things when like you say like you or a code word like you give like they say with your kids. Their kids say, "Hey, I forgot to pick up a loaf of bread." That means they want you to come pick them up, or they're in an unsafe situation or whatever. And I need help recalibrating. Is also that type of situation where I am aware that I am having. I'm telling myself a story. I'm making assumptions. My brain and my feelings, they're running amok, and I need the life raft. I need the fact. I need that fact. I need to know, like, okay, what do you need help in recalibrating? I am feeling very anxious because I haven't talked to you like I normally talk to you, or you've seemed a little short with me last time we were on the phone, and I'm feeling like I've done something wrong. I need you to help me calibrate that thought. And that person goes, okay, here's the facts. And whatever that is, you calibrate from that. And I thought that was very good. And I was like, I need help recalibrating. That doesn't say I need you to help me feel better. That's not saying I need you to help me get rid of this feeling, because recalibration doesn't necessarily mean that the feelings are going to go away. It just means that you're now giving yourself something. You're giving yourself you're leveling yourself out. And sometimes it could be scary. Sometimes that can be the scariest part, because you don't like, what if I did do something? What if they were short with me because I did something wrong? Okay. But if you did something and they were short with you, well, I was short with you because what you said hurt my feelings. Or you were short with me because what you said sort of triggered me and I'm needing a moment to, okay, but at least then I am aware that I did something, or maybe I'm aware that I can handle the truth. And that's a little scary, because you're not always going to get the response of, no, the story you're telling yourself is wrong. Because sometimes the story you're telling yourself is right. But at least you know, because once you know the truth, then you can figure out how to move on towards there. Because if you don't know that you did something wrong, or what you did wrong, you don't know how to fix it, or you don't know how to correct it, or you don't know how to move forward or repair. You're just sitting in the guessing game. And what Sean struggles with, tolerating uncertainty for longer than before demanding a resolution. Sometimes, just like we talked about last week, sometimes you just have to sit in it. You have to let your brain go, am I feeling this way? And am I making myself this way? And is this gonna, like that, again, the pause method. I got to pause, give myself my thoughts sometimes to settle before I go, okay, here is exactly what I need to address. Because if you're trying to address it right when you're in that triggered moment, are you really addressing the problem? Are you addressing the trigger?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you have to sit in that. I mean, you don't have to. You can totally do whatever the fuck you want. But I'm just saying,
yeah,
you're going to probably not get a positive result. Sean, and it always bothers me when your door is open when you stream because I always feel like there's going to be some creepy character like looking at it. Like I was just noticing that. It was just
at some point you're gonna freak out and you're like, look, turn around, and I'm like, yeah,
some mass murder in your
some
house.
head is just gonna
Because half the time when I send you shit, and then I have to go, something's at your door.
That's true, you do. Yeah.
You don't even know when anybody's at your house.
I don't. My ring doorbell is offline almost all the time.
Charge it.
I forget to charge it, and then I'm like, why is it? So.
Oh, the hard truth section. What's number 3, Sean? What's number 3?
You don't have to.
No. No, read number 3 on the hard truth section. Read number 3. Sneaks up pipe upstairs, and Black Jesus says, "Oh my God, I would pay $100 to see that happen." Calvino.
Just to see that Calvino head lean into the doorway.
Yeah.
At some point, that's gonna happen.
Actually, start with number 1. Start with number 1 of the hard truth section.
So close. Okay.
Nice try, fucker.
I thought we were able to skip right to 3.
Nope.
Okay. You are responsible for the stories you act on. Not the clown. No, not Art the Clown. You're responsible for the stories you act on. I am responsible for the stories I act on. Yeah. My brain works this way. My nervous system works this way. This is what I do. This is what those may explain, but those do not justify my acting on the story, the way in which I respond to that story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now number 3.
Oh, okay. The work is in the pause, not in preventing the story from appearing. For the people in the back, the work is in the pause, not in preventing the story from appearing. The stories are going to appear. That's what I said at the very beginning. It's about managing it. The stories are going to happen. What do I do in the pause?
Now the last one.
Why you gotta be like this?
No, this is yours. This is yours, buddy. It had nothing to do with me.
You cannot control what your brain generates. You can control what you do next. You cannot control what your brain generates. You can control what you do next. Yeah. Brain is gonna brain. Nervous system is gonna nervous system. Doesn't mean I have to go right along with it. Yeah. Hard truths. Kind of felt them. Felt that hard truth.
Oh, I like this reflection prompt. Can you sit in the I don't know for 24 hours before acting on the story? And that's sitting in the I don't know, not sitting in the I don't know, so I'm going to continue to make the story bigger with more details.
I can make all kinds of details. I can connect a dot. I will make them up if I have to. Yeah, can I sit in the I don't know for 24 hours before acting on the story?
Can you? Be honest. There's a difference between can you and want to.
Well, okay. What do you define? How do you define acting on the story? Is that just any response to that story?
Acknowledging the story exists, acknowledging you're feeling the feelings because the story exists, and just sitting there in it. Not making anything more or less up.
I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if I can. It's that last part, the like not doing anything, not blowing the story up bigger, not
Not trying to resolve it, not trying to get a,
Mm.
just sitting in it.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever done that.
Like, for example, my friend was acting, my boss, my office manager was acting
Hmm.
weird. I waited days before I asked a question.
Now, that kind of acting, yes. Before actually addressing it, yes. Because, well, for me, it's always going to be over 24 hours because I rarely am going to do anything right away. Um,
But acknowledging, okay, maybe this is just something that I'm making up. I'm just
not
gonna,
not catastrophizing it, not spiraling with it. See, that's the thing. That's what I think about when it says acting on the story. I'm like, am I spiraling it? Is it going out of control? Am I
right.
catastrophizing it?
Is this a story that I'm telling myself or is this reality? You know what? I
Yeah.
don't know. I know I'm feeling this way. I know that this is what I'm telling myself, but I'm going to sit on it. I mean, I
Mhm.
can acknowledge that I'm feeling this way and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but I'm just going to sit in it for a minute. I'm just going to sit with it.
I've done that. Not often, not a lot, but I've done that. Yes. Um, and for me, sometimes some of the stories are repeat stories. It's like it's the same story that just keeps popping up every so often. A lot of times when I'm stressed out, uh, that stuff happens. But yeah, that's a good one. Waiting 24 hours before acting on the story.
All right, Sean, finish it up.
Um, I like the closing line. Um, your brain wrote the story. Your brain wrote that story to keep you safe, but you get to decide if the story you want to live in, if it's the story you want to live in. All right. Am I
I love how
giving you?
he says that that's the closing line. I'm not going to expand on it. We're just going to go. We're going to close this out.
Okay. Am I wrapping it?
Yes.
Okay. So this week's activities. Today is Sunday. So tonight we have Let's Build with Me. Let's Build with Pep Pep. That is tonight at 6:30 Eastern on my channel, the Durian Sombra channel. Let's see if I can put that right there in the chat. So the last one in that list, that is my channel. So I'm going to be building Legos tonight. Let's Build. We are getting close to finishing the Enterprise. It is behind me on that shoulder, right there, and it's also behind Anna in her corner. So she built it first. I'm building it. I'm close to finishing. So anyway, if you want to come hang out, build Legos together, that is tonight at 6:30 Eastern on my channel. And then on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So after my channel, but Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday is our friend Nev. Our good buddy Nev, he is streaming. He's doing gaming, and so you'll check him out. It is a big ship, Kevin. It is quite heavy. So I'll raid into him tonight, but he's also streaming on Tuesday and Thursday. And then on Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern on the Team AOA channel is Three Birds and a Dragon, where we roll a d20 and let it ruin our lives. So that is a lot of fun. So come check us out at 8:30 Eastern on the Team_AOA channel. And then that's all the scheduled stuff, but make sure you're following all of us in case any of us happen to randomly go live. We've talked about wanting to do some more game streaming and whatnot, so you never know when that might happen. So make sure you're following all of us.
That's a big ship. It is a big ship.
It is a very big ship. It's a lot heavier than it looks. And then the last thing to talk about is we have Con Carolinas coming up at the end of May. The last weekend in May is Con Carolinas. I was going to ask
I know,
that.
I know.
Have
No,
you
I'm
submitted
not.
your
I need
paperwork?
to. No, I need to. I got you. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is the track director. So yeah, Con Carolinas is last weekend in May. It is a fantastic comic convention in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So if you're gonna be in the area, or if you want to come visit, you get to come hang out with me and Anna and Jay and Andrew at Con Carolinas. that weekend. It's going to be a fun weekend of panels, cosplay, and all kinds of shenanigans. So we understand that a lot of our community can't make it for different reasons. So we are going to stream what we can. We usually do a wrap up at the end of the day while we're sitting in our PJs at the hotel, kind of wrapping up or maybe eating somewhere. We usually do a wrap up stream, but we'll stream throughout whenever we get a chance at the con. So make sure you're following us. TwitchCon EU that weekend. Fantastic. Oh, that's awesome. Anyway, we're
Oh God! And with that,
is it me or the sound gone? I think it's me. I don't know.
I don't know.
So, apparently the sound went off.
Huh.
All right.
Okay.
Well, this would be a good time to go bye. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you tonight. Let's build. Bye everybody.
Did you really just high five over me? Right
No,
now?
we didn't.
Okay, we're live.
Hey.
Hello.
Last week,
You don't even do that well from the front seat.
okay.
The bear's coming with the cup and spoon.
That's a straight up PBR for the table.
Yeah, 3 out 3.
I think it called.